Welcome to today's deep dive. We spend millions on, meditation retreats and the solo journaling practices. We're all trying to fix ourselves in total isolation.
Right, yeah.
But attempting to achieve profound personal growth alone is, well, it's a lot like trying to grow a garden on a concrete slab. So today we're looking at a piece by Orrie called Gathering Grace, Growing Through Community Connection.
Yeah, and it completely dismantles our modern obsession with solitary self-improvement. Karim anchors this whole philosophy in a theological framework, right? Looking specifically at Romans chapter 12, verses 13 and 21.
The Message and Common English Bibles.
Yeah. Exactly, both of them. And the directives there, they aren't about retreating to a mountaintop to find peace. They're these active external commands to welcome strangers, conquer evil by doing good, and to be inventive in hospitality.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the underlying argument is that grace rarely generates in a vacuum. It requires a living environment, which sets up Karim's central metaphor beautifully.
The plant and the soil.
Yes. If your personal development is a plant, then the community around you is the soil. And that soil has to deliver very specific psychological nutrients like accountability, empathy, and shared wisdom.
Which is fascinating because shared wisdom isn't just about collecting good advice. It acts like a shared root system. You can absorb the lessons of someone else's failures without having to endure the drought yourself.
Wait, I love that. You don't have to endure the drought yourself.
Right. But for that root system to actually connect, the soil has to make direct contact. You can't leave your roots wrapped in plastic.
No, definitely not.
So Karim argues the first pillar of growth is shared vulnerability. When we strip away those, performative masks we wear in our professional or social lives, our personal growing pains mutate into blueprints.
Blueprints for the people around us.
Exactly. Your current struggle literally becomes the survival guide for someone else facing a similar obstacle.
So dropping the mask isn't just therapeutic for you. It's like a structural requirement for the whole ecosystem to survive.
Spot on. And once those walls are down, you hit the second pillar, the mirror effect. You start getting feedback you could never generate on your own.
Because if I'm vulnerable about where I'm stuck, the people around me can hold up a mirror.
They end up championing potential in you that you might be too insecure or just blind to see yourself. They reflect the grace you haven't learned to recognize yet.
Oh, wow.
Because we are notoriously terrible judges of our own progress, right? Our internal critic is always the loudest voice in the room. Having an invested community provides a far more accurate gauge of your actual trajectory.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. I have an issue with this meal concept.
Uh-oh, lay it on me.
Well, relying on others to reflect my reality seems incredibly risky.
Okay.
If I surround myself with yes men who just flatter me, or if I only show them a highly curated, sanitized version of my struggles, isn't that mirror going to reflect a totally distorted image?
Yeah,
It feels like we could actively stunt my growth.
That is a crucial vulnerability in the system. And it's exactly why Karim insists on a specific rule of engagement here. Absolute raw authenticity.
So no hiding.
No hiding. You have to be both a planter and a participant, meaning you can't just passively consume the community's support while hiding your actual flaws. You must actively contribute your unvarnished self.
Right, because trusting the collective with your genuine shortcomings is an act of faith.
It really is. It's the psychological leap of believing we are ultimately more resilient together than we are when we're just protecting our egos in isolation.
Well, so if authenticity is the price of admission, then who we allow into that circle becomes the next obvious hurdle.
Oh, absolutely. This brings us to the third pillar, diverse perspectives.
Because if I only gather with people who have my exact background, my exact income bracket, and my exact worldview, we're just going to reinforce our own blind spots.
You'd be building a monoculture instead of an ecosystem.
Yeah.
And Karim identifies this as the ultimate test of communal cultivation. True grace expands specifically when we engage with voices outside our immediate, comfortable circle.
Engaging with diverse perspectives is what forces those roots to dig deeper.
Right. Encountering a worldview that fundamentally challenges your assumptions. It breaks up the hard clay of your own biases. It stretches your capacity for empathy far beyond what a homogenous group could achieve.
So, okay, how does this actually translate to your life this week? Like, for anyone listening right now, how do you put this into practice?
So Karim offers a highly practical application here, a growth tip, if you will. Look at your wider circle and identify one person whose life journey is fundamentally different from your own.
Okay.
and reach out to them. The goal isn't to launch into a deep philosophical debate. It's simply to share a moment of gathered grace through a simple conversation or a word of encouragement.
It's a way to practice being inventive in hospitality in a tangible, low-stakes way.
Precisely. Just a small step out of the comfort zone.
Well, it circles right back to those verses in Romans. If personal growth is a plant and community is the soil we need to thrive, you really need to take a hard look at the dirt you are planted in.
Yeah.
If you only ever gather with people who perfectly reflect your own existing viewpoints, are you actually cultivating grace? Or are you just staring into a funhouse mirror that keeps you comfortable but ultimately stunts your growth? Something to think about.